Today we're going to smoke some sausages. Going to do some andouille, and then I have a mesquite flavored sausage I'm going to throw on the Weber today. Just add a little bit of grilled pineapple to go with it. Side dish of Mizithra spaghetti, and some sauces to kind of go with the sausages. Maybe just some barbecue, some Cajun type sauce, things like that. Very easy to do. Shouldn't take more than an hour and a half, 2 hours to do the sausages. All right, so like I said earlier, we're going to be doing some smoked sausages today. I've got some andouille sausages up here, and then I've got a smoked firehouse habanero that, well, they're not smoked yet, but they will be, that I think are going to be spectacular. I've got a couple of sauces to go with them. I've got a raspberry sweet chili dipping sauce and a honey mustard dipping sauce. The honey mustard here really just consists of about a quarter cup of honey, quarter cup of mayonnaise, a quarter cup of Dijon mustard, a little bit of distilled vinegar, and about an 1/8 to 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. And actually maybe even a titch more than that. I might have gone heavy on the cayenne pepper because we like it a little hotter. On the raspberry sauce, it's basically half a cup of raspberry jam, a quarter cup of sweet chili sauce, and a little bit of lemon juice, and that is all. And what we're going to do is we'll start with the sausages. Going to put them on the grill. I'm going to start the smoke fire at about 200 degrees, turn it to smoke boost, let them smoke boost for about maybe half an hour, and then I'm going to crank it up to about 250 for the last hour or so. I figure it'll take about an hour and a half or so. Your sausages are going to be done and fully cooked and pasteurized and everything when they're at about 160 degrees internal temperature. We are going to be using an apple pellet today. Give it a little bit more of a sweeter taste to go with the heat and such like that. And to go with the smoked sausages, we're going to just grill up some fresh pineapple. Going to be very easy. I'll probably put a little bit of butter and maybe a little bit of brown sugar glaze on them, just kind of brushing it very light. And then I'm going to do a Mizithra spaghetti. Basically a nice pasta that I've got here, as you can see. And then I'm going to use about a cup of butter, and I'll brown that. So I'll go through the details on how you brown that. Then I'll use about a half a cup of Mizithra cheese, half a cup of Romano cheese, and then a little parsley for garnish. And that'll complete our meal today. All right, so in cutting the pineapple, basically I just was actually really easy. I cut off the top, cut off the bottom, and then I literally just sliced down the sides here and took off all of the outside. I'll clean it up a little bit, get a little bit of the brown spots and things like that out of the way. And then I'm going to actually, rather than core it, I'm going to quarter it, cut out the middle, and I'm going to use spears on the grill. It's a little easier to cook and grill that way. So as you can see, I quartered and then eighth the pineapple, kind of cut off the inside cores there, the tougher parts of the pineapple, and that's all I'm going to do. Like I said, I'll maybe add a little bit of seasoning, some butter, honey on top of it, just drizzle it and let it, actually probably not honey, but brown sugar. Okay, as I said, I'm going to heat this up to about 200. Once it gets to temp, I'm going to activate the smoke boost, put the sausages on, let them go for about half an hour. And as you can see, I'm going to be using a water pan in the middle there. I'll just fill that maybe halfway with water. You don't need a whole lot. And then I'm actually going to put the sausages off to the sides, let them be off, so not over the direct heat, which is right over the top. It's pretty even, but that'll just keep them a little more even and not over, like I said, the direct flames, if there are any. So for the Mizithra spaghetti, I'm going to grate about half a cup of fresh Mizithra cheese that I picked up at a great store we have locally. And then I'm going to use about half a cup of Romano that I'll grate up and put into there. And the great thing about Mizithra spaghetti, 4 ingredients. You got the pasta, obviously, the Mizithra cheese, the Romano cheese, and then some brown butter. And I guess if you want to consider the parsley garnish as a 5th ingredient, that'd be it. All right, so there's the shredded Mizithra cheese here on the right, and on the left is the shredded Romano that we'll be using on the Mizithra spaghetti. Okay, so that took about literally maybe about 7-8 minutes to come to temp. We're at 200 degrees. I'm going to activate the smoke boost right there. And we're going to turn it on. And now I'm going to put the sausages on. I filled the water pan, obviously, with some water. I'm going to throw the andouilles on here on this side. And I'm going to throw the smokehouse habanero sausages on this side. I'm going to let them go with the smoke boost for about 20 to 30 minutes. So while the sausages are in the smoke boost phase, just thought I'd give you a little background on these. The reason I'm using a andouille and a habanero type sausage is everybody does bratwurst or Italian sausages. We like to mix it up. We like all kinds of sausages, and these tend to be really nice. And there's not a sausage made that can't benefit from a good smoke. It's obviously a lot different than your bratwurst where you simmer them and boil them in beer first and then, grill them and get the grill marks and get them nice and toasty at the end. This is going to give the sausages a little bit more of a complex flavor that we really enjoy. All right, so for the pineapple, like I said, I was going to put some brown sugar butter on it. I've actually found, and what I'm going to do is some grated pure cane brown sugar that I'm going to just grate on without any butter. It'll give it a nice browning and sweetness I think will be fantastic. All right, so let's just grate some brown sugar on here. All right, and you can smell the sugars and the pineapple interacting in it. The smell is fantastic. All right, so they've been on smoke boost for about 30 minutes. I'm going to just take a quick look at them, and then I'm going to change the temperature to about 250. And they're looking really good. They're coming around really nicely. There's not really a whole lot of benefit from flipping them other than the grill marks, and I'm not overly concerned about that, so I'm not going to flip them during this time. Just going to let them go, but they are looking pretty good, starting to brown up and cook up very nicely. So we're going to change the temperature now to about 250. All right, so for the brown butter, what I've got is a cup of butter in here, and what I'm going to do is slowly melt it, bring it down, and when it starts to bubble, you just scoop off or skim off the bubbles, discard that, and get rid of all those, and then it'll start to brown. It takes, it takes 15-20 minutes maybe to do it, but it'll give you a nice, beautiful brown butter. The bubbles in the top of that, as you can see, and just skim it off a little bit, set it aside. And we'll just keep working on that, getting all the butter and the bubbles out, and it'll start turning into a nice caramely brown here shortly. All right, we'll keep working on it. All right, the brown butter's coming along very nicely. I've skimmed off a whole bunch of the bubbles in the top, and it's browning up very nicely. Got a little bit more to skim off, and we'll be done. Got the water going for the pasta. The sausages are at about 159, so they're a degree away from taking them off. I'll crank up the temp a little bit as I take them off and put on the pineapple and let those grill up for a little bit, and then we'll have our dinner. Okay, the probe shows that they're at about 160, 161, so they're about perfect. They look fantastic, nice and brown, and looking good. So let's take them off, crank up the temperature, and we will put on the pineapple and let them go. So these are the andouille here on this side, and these are the Firehouse habaneros on this side. All right, now put on the pineapple. All right. They're good to go. And like I said, I'm going to crank the temperature up. Probably crank it up to about 450. Let it get good and hot. Let those cook for maybe 10 minutes and we'll be done. Take a look at the pineapple and they're looking good. I aimed the temp in up from 250 to 450 in about 5 minutes. So that was really quick and nice. It is hot. Those go another 5 to 10 minutes and we'll be good. Okay, pineapple is time to come off. Looks really good. All right, so I drained the pasta, poured the browned buttered over the top, added the Mizithra and the Romano cheese, put a little parsley in. I mixed it all up, and then I topped it off with a little more parsley, and we are good to go and ready to eat. We've got the pineapple here that came off and looks really good. The sauces for the smoked sausages. And we are good to go there and ready to eat. Bon appetit. So make sure you stay with us and join us next week because we're going to be doing a couple of Thanksgiving turkeys. Join us then.